Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? All right, it's another open panel. And even within this open panel, we're going to speak a little of this year's NBA draft, the 2022 NBA draft. Because I made another prediction that came true regarding the NBA draft, which is I predicted earlier, I think one of my prior videos that I did back during the March Madness, that a player from Duke University was going to be the number one draft pick this year. And that player was Paolo Banchero. And I was correct when it came to that prediction. When I saw him play, I just knew that he was going to be the number one draft pick. Like, when it comes to all the college players of this past season, Paolo Banchero was the best player that would actually make an impact in the NBA. You know, back then, I'm speaking about this past March and April. A lot of people within the sports world predicted that Chet Holmgren, who played for Gonzaga, was going to be the number one pick in this year's NBA draft. And I was like, nah, it's Paolo Banchero from Duke that's going to be the number one draft pick. I mean, this guy, when I see this guy play, I see Tracy McGrady. You know, when I look up Paolo Banchero and see who other people compare him to, you know, people make like these comparisons. They compare him to Julius Randle, or what's that player from that currently plays in the Atlanta Hawks? Another player. What's that player's name? I forgot the guy's name. Let me see. What's that player's name? Well, I forgot the guy's name. He currently plays for the Atlanta Hawks. He's like a small forward, power forward for the Hawks. But nah, I disagree. Even some so-called sports expert compared Paolo Banchero to Chris Webber, and I'm like, what? Chris Webber? How the hell are you going to compare him to Chris Webber when when you watch Chris Webber play, when he played in the NBA, most of his game was his back towards the basket. He was a poster player that also knew how to pass inside the paint. Paolo Banchero is not really a poster player. I mean, now in the NBA and even in college basketball, you don't see a lot of poster players no more. Paolo Banchero reminds me of a bigger Tracy McGrady. When you see him play, he has very good ball handling ability for a guy his size, just like Tracy McGrady. And he could score from almost anywhere in the court, just like Tracy McGrady. He could shoot and or score from anywhere in the court. He could cross you up and drive it into you and just dunk it in the hole. Or he could cross you up, pull up in the middle of the paint and shoot it. That reminds me of Tracy McGrady, where he has great scoring ability, excellent ball handling ability, and also very athletic and fast for a guy his size. All of that reminds me of Tracy McGrady when he used to play in the NBA. The only difference between Paolo Banchero and Tracy McGrady is that Paolo Banchero is a better passer. Tracy McGrady was never much of a passer with the ball. It's like when he had the ball, 9 times out of 10, he was going to score. All right? So Paolo Banchero, he's about 6'10", 6'9", 6'10". And I actually saw him play live early this year in the Barclays Center when they had the ACC tournament. And I watched Duke play. I forgot which team Duke played against at that time. I haven't recorded it. I had it. It's on video. It's somewhere, you know, it's in my video feeds, right? I forgot which team Duke played and beat. Well, fuck it. Right? But I seen him play up front. Yo, that dude's nice. You know. And another player to watch out for in the NBA draft, he got drafted. He was the number 14th pick of the NBA draft, Cleveland Cavaliers chose. Oh, before I get to that other player, Paolo Banchero, of course, was the #1 pick of the 2022 NBA draft, and he was picked by the Orlando Magic. So he's going to make a nice small forward. His natural position, Paolo Banchero's natural position is the small forward position. But he's so versatile that he could also play the power forward position. He could play a small center because he's about 6'10", and he could play even a little shooting guard. And he could play the point forward position too, being that he's so good with when it comes to handling and dribbling the ball, and he's also good in passing. He could play a little point forward, so he's also a versatile player. But naturally, he's a scorer, and he has that scoring ability that Tracy McGrady has, where he's also very athletic at the same time. But let me get to another player that got drafted in this year's draft that a lot of you guys have to watch out for. He also won a national championship this year, NCAA national championship, while winning the most important player of the year. The most outstanding player of the year. Yeah, in college basketball, instead of using MVP, the most valuable player of the year, they have the MOP, the most outstanding player of the Final Four, which is a player by the name of, what's his name? I can't even pronounce this guy's name. Ochai Agbaji from the University of Kansas, or Kansas University, right? KU. That guy's nice. That guy's a good scorer. That guy's a good defender, and he's a good scorer. And he could play that 2-3 position. He's like a 2. He could play that both that shooting guard and that small forward position. He's strong. He's strong. He could drive to the hole. He could shoot. This guy's nice. And the thing is that the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is the team that picked him up, already have a nice young nucleus, which gave them a very successful season this year. You know, the Cleveland Cavaliers this year made it to the playoffs, and at one point in time, made the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. At one point in time in this past NBA season, the Cleveland Cavaliers was one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. So by them adding this rookie, Ochai Agbaji, to the team, that's going to be a good team, man. That's going to be, and another player to watch out for. See, this NBA draft consisted of a lot of wingmen, or a lot of shooting guards and small forwards. Yeah, there were some point guards that got drafted. Yeah, there were some power forwards and centers that got drafted. But the majority of players in this year's NBA draft that got drafted within the first and second rounds of the draft were mostly shooting guards and small forwards. So there were guys that could play the wing or the swingman position. But another player to watch out for, which is a shooting guard from Ohio State. He was drafted the 20th pick, and it was the Spurs that drafted him. His name is Malachi Branham. Malachi Branham. This guy played for Ohio State, and this guy's another brilliant player. He's another very strong and athletic shooting guard. I think he's about 6'6". This boy could shoot. He could drive to the hole. He's not a great defender, but he could stay in front of you on defense. He could stay in front of his opponents on defense. But this guy could shoot his ass off, and he's strong. And this is a guy that he can make an impact in the San Antonio Spurs. You know, so those 3 names, get our name, in my personal opinion, are going to be some big names, especially Paolo Banchero. You know what, Paolo Banchero, if he stays healthy and continues to work on his craft, I give this guy another 3 to 4 years, and he's going to be a star in the NBA. If he stays healthy and continues about his craft, this dude is going to be a star in the NBA in about 3 years, 3 to 4 years. Hell, he might just be too big of a name to stay with the Orlando Magics. Yo, and probably do what Dwight Howard and Shaquille O'Neal did when they got drafted in the Magic and went on to a bigger market. Yeah, but this was an interesting draft. And let me see. Chet Holmgren, the center for the Oklahoma, excuse me, the center for what the what the fuck? I forgot. Gonzaga. He got drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder as the number 2 pick of this year's NBA draft. All right. Oh, another pick that's nice, right? Another pick is this center from Duke, Mark Williams. He got drafted as the number 15th pick by Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets picked him up as a center, Mark Williams from Duke University. This guy's nice. He's strong. He's 7'2", strong body, could block any shot, strong inside scorer. I mean, he's one of the few guys that actually plays like a true center. Oh, yeah, you got Christian Braun. Okay. Christian Braun, who also came from, who played for KU, Kansas University. He got drafted as the number 20, as the 21st pick of the NBA draft by the Denver Nuggets. That was a good pick by the Denver Nuggets. Because Christian Braun, this guy, he's a good defender, a good hustler, and he's also, I won't say he's a pure shooter, but he's a nice rhythm shooter. When he's in the rhythm and he's on fire, this guy would make any shots in. I mean, if you saw him play in the in this year's NCAA Men's Basketball National Championship, you'll see, because he was a big reason why the Kansas Jayhawks was able to beat the Carolina Tar Heels in that national championship game. And Denver picked him up. That was a good pick for Denver, man. Yo, Christian Braun, I know his rookie season, he's going to come off the bench. Right? But when you add, when you put him in a team that already has Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, who else? Michael Carter Williams. Well, not Michael Carter Williams. Not Michael Carter Williams. The other Michael. Not Michael Carter. The other Michael. Damn, I forgot this. Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, I mistake him for Michael Carter Williams. No, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. And there's this other play that I like. Damn. Anyhow, when you put Christian Braun in that team, yeah, that's going to be a nice team, man. Hold on, let me screenshot this shit. Yeah, man, I'm speaking about sports right now. You don't see me sitting here crying over some bros and shit. This is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at this website right here. I'm looking at NBA.com showing the results of this year's NBA draft. And this is the player that I was talking about that made the number one draft pick, Paolo Banchero, drafted by the Orlando Magic, right? And what does it say about Paolo Banchero? It says, prospect overview, polished front court scorer with the frame talent, with the ball, and three-level scoring ability to grow into an offensive building block at the NBA level. Okay, his position is a forward, height, weight 6'10", 250 pounds. Went to Duke University. Only played 1 year. Only played 1 year in Duke. Oh, he's only like 19. He was born in November 12th, 2022. He's only 19 and got drafted. Okay, he says, okay, about Paolo Banchero, right? Paolo Banchero is a talented offensive player whose ability to create his own shot shined as the focal point of an explosive Duke offense. An early bloomer, he has a strong athletic pedigree. His mother, Rhonda, was a third-round selection in the 2000 NBA draft. Establishing himself as a prospect in middle school, Banchero was considered a top 5 prospect throughout his prep career at O'Day High School in Washington State, okay? And capped his prep career with McDonald's All-American honors. Okay, his mother played in WNBA. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. While he did not appear in a single game as a senior due to the pandemic displacing his season, his improvement in the year leading up to his lone collegiate season was immediately apparent at Duke as he emerged as one of the more dynamic offensive weapons in the country, regardless of class. Averaging 17.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 3.2 assists over 33 minutes per game, Banchero led the Blue Devils to a Final Four appearance in Mike Krzyzewski's final season at the helm and captured consensus second-team All-American honors in the process. Listed at 6'10" in shoes with the 250-pound frame to go along with the 7'1" wingspan. Wow. His wingspan is 7'1", man. So that means when he spreads his arm apart, he's 6'10" in height when he's in shoes. He's really 6'9", 6'8" without shoes. Right? But according to this, when he spreads his arms apart, right? Let's say he spreads his arm apart left and right. You measure the wingspan and it's 7'1". So he has an over 7 feet wingspan. That's how long his arms are. Banchero has NBA-ready physical tools and is a strong athlete who plays above the rim with 2 hands on the move. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Who will they compare him to? Let me see if they compare him to somebody in this. Because I disagree when it comes to the comparisons that they make of him. I think he's a bigger version of Tracy McGrady, man. All right. Let me see. Okay, the number 2 draft pick. Well, I'm just going to move on. You got the number 2 draft pick, right? Chet Holmgren, drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Center, 7 feet, 195 pounds. Gonzaga. I mean, the sports world made a big deal about this individual, right? I think he needs to put on some more weight. Because in the NBA, there ain't no way you could be a center. There's no way in the NBA you could be an effective center weighing 195 pounds. You got to put on some more weight. He's very slim. I mean, skill-wise, he's all right. He's cool skill-wise, I think he needs to spend some more time in college. Chet Holmgren, personally. I know most players that play college basketball, after that one season in college, they go straight to the NBA, especially if they're the top 10 players in the nation, right? But I think he needed more time in college because his body is not really NBA ready yet. Yet he's tall, but the dude's under 200 pounds. You 7 feet, you under 200 pounds, you like a toothpick, man. People in the NBA going to eat you up. He's good with blocking shots, though. Let me see something. Oh, shit. Hold on. What the fuck? Hold on, man. Let me stop sharing. I was going to go show the overview of Chet Holmgren. All right. Let me see something. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the screen again. I mean, a few minutes ago, the page was loading up so damn slowly. So I stopped sharing, closed the tab, reopened the tab, went back to the website. So this is from NBA.com. This page is from NBA.com/draft, right? I put the link to the page in the video description box. All right, Chet Holmgren, like I said, okay, where it says Holmgren is a unique center prospect with the length and mobility to an impact player defensively and a rare offensive skill level for a true 7-footer. Climbing the rankings to finish his prep career at Minnehaha Academy, however way you pronounce that. Minnehaha Academy or Minnehaha Academy in Minnesota, regarded as the top of the top prospect in the high school class of 2021, while capturing Morgan Wooden and Naismith Prep Player of the Year honors. The Minneapolis native built an impressive resume heading into his freshman year at Gonzaga. He further raised the bar by earning most valuable player honors of averaging 11.9 points, 6.1 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 27 blocks over a 21.3 minutes per game for the United States team that took gold at the 2021 FIBA Under-19 World Championship. That's what the U19 stands for, Under-19. So he played for the U.S. men's basketball team in 2021, which is the under 19 men's basketball team, where you know, self-explanatory, where it's a part of the FIBA league where all the players are under the age of 19 that's able to participate in the under 19 world championship. And the FIBA, for those of you who don't know, that's the Federation of International Basketball Association. That's a different, that's basically a foreign or professional basketball league that has, it's more so like a federation that consists of different leagues with inside that federation. Yeah, so every year they have a little tournament between different countries. And they have, I'm done with that. Okay. I'll just move on. I'm not going to spend time explaining that shit. Okay. Quickly establishing himself, I'm going to continue reading. Quickly establishing himself as an impact player on a veteran Gonzaga roster under head coach Mark Few, the 20-year-old big man averaged 14.1 points, 9.9 rebounds, 3.7 blocks, and 1.9 assists over 26.9 minutes per game to earn Western Collegiate Conference Defensive Player of the Year and consensus second team All-American honors. Standing 7 foot without shoes with a skinny 195-pound frame, Holmgren's frame still has a lot of room to improve. That's what I said, his weight. He's too skinny. But his 7'5" wingspan and mobility give him tantalizing potential as a difference maker on both ends. Yeah, he has a lot of potential. And I'm going to stop reading from there. If the rest of y'all want to read this shit, I could look it up yourselves, See, Keegan Murray. A lot of people put a lot of hype on Keegan Murray from Iowa. A forward from Iowa. I mean, he's all right. He's all right. He was all right in college. I'm not going to take nothing from him. He was okay in college. But some of the plays that I'm really hyped about is, like I said, Paolo Banchero. Plays like Paolo Banchero, plays like Malachi Branham, and plays like Mark Williams, and also Ochai Agbaji. Let me show you this dude, the number 14th pick of this year's NBA draft, who got drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. 6'6", him right here. This dude's nice with it. This dude's nice. 22 years old. You know, 22 years old, 215 pounds, played for Kansas. Oh, he spent 4 years in college. He got drafted after his senior year in college. Okay. Prospect overview. Polished swingman who went from playing out of necessity as a freshman at Kansas to being the best player on a national championship team. Has a clear role at the next level with his prototypical physical tools and spot-up shooting ability. About Ochai Agbaji. Ochai Agbaji is a dangerous off-ball scoring threat with an NBA-ready frame who improved over his 4 seasons in Kansas, culminating in NCAA Final Four Most Outstanding Player honors. Yep. He not only did he win a national championship this year in college, he also won the Final Four Most Outstanding Player of the Year. Yeah. I'll continue reading. Born in Milwaukee, where both of his parents played, at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Agbaji flew under the radar throughout his time at Oak Park High School in Missouri, only gaining steam as a senior to finish his season ranked among the top consensus top 200 prospects in the high school class of 2018. Planning to redshirt his freshman year at Kansas, Agbaji's career took a turn after a series of personal losses thrust him into significant minutes. A few weeks into the year, immediately exceeding expectations and flashing significant upside, the athletic wing finished that season averaging, and I think he's talking about his first year, averaging 8.5 points, 4.6 rebounds per game, but has made noticeable strides with his skill level in each of his 4 collegiate seasons. After declaring for the 2021 NBA draft following his junior year at attending the NBA draft combine before returning to school, Agbaji faced steep expectations on his 4th year under head coach Bill Self, finishing the season averaging 18.8 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 6 assists per game while shooting 41% from beyond the arc. Agbaji, 41% from 3. So he was a 41% three-point shooter in college. That's very good. Agbaji garnered Big 12 Player of the Year and consensus first-team All-American honors as he led the Jayhawks to their first NCAA championship since 2008. Measured at 6'5" and 3/4" in shoes, with a 217-pound frame and a 6'10" and a quarter wingspan, at the 2022 NBA Combine, Agbaji has prototypical size for an NBA small forward to go along with a very good all-around athleticism. Well, although I think that he's good at the small forward position, I think that he's even more effective. I think that he's even more effective as a shooting guard. To me, he's more effective as a shooting guard than a small forward because of his shooting ability. Because this guy could shoot. This player right here could shoot. So I think in the NBA, it'll be better for him to play mostly at the small forward position. Mostly at the shooting guard position. I mean, he could play some small forward. Don't get me wrong. He could be effective at both positions. Because usually a player like him, they usually put him at both the shooting guard and small forward positions, where he'll play the shooting guard role and sometimes a small forward position. But I think that he should play throughout his career mostly at the shooting guard position. But let me stop sharing. All right. So, yeah, man. This NBA draft was kind of nice, man. It was all right. It was all right. But, man. But let's get on to another conversation in this open panel, right? Let's get into another conversation. And I want to rehash some things I said in my video last night in regards to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, right? In which yesterday the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the 1973 decision of Roe v. Wade. Thus, as of right now, the federal government does not protect people's abortion rights. That now, because the Supreme Court made, I think, I forgot how many judges agreed and how many judges disagreed, but the majority of Supreme Court judges believe that the Constitution, that there is no way in the U.S. Constitution that speaks about protecting reproductive rights of females, thus leaving abortion or the legality of abortion to individual states and elected officials. Thus, it is up to elected officials, whether locally, statewide, or nationwide, to develop laws to either uphold or not uphold the abortion rights of females, right? So in regards to what I was talking about, I think I'm like the only one that actually hit the nail in the coffin when I said that, listen, you could kill two birds with one stone. You can see if America actually really cared about abortion, they could kill two birds with one stone without having to make females feel as if their rights being taken away, and at the same time, you could still stop or dramatically decrease the rate of abortion by eliminating poverty. Once you eliminate poverty, you eliminate a primary factor that caused a lot of females to get an abortion in the first place. And when you do that, like I said, you actually doing two things at one time. One, you're drastically reducing the abortion rate if you remove poverty from out the picture. And at the same time, you're not removing, or you're not making people feel as if their constitutional rights is being removed. Because people in America do believe that abortion is or should be a constitutional right, even though the Constitution does not really says anything about abortion, right? But this is how American people feel. American people feel as though abortion is a constitutional right. Thus, if you remove poverty from out the picture, you can drastically reduce the abortion rate, or even eliminate abortion, just by people naturally not deciding to have an abortion, being that if poverty was taken away, thus people would not have a real reason to abort their children, for the most part, right? I can't make that an absolute point. For the most part, that would happen. But at the same time, people's rights, or people would not feel on the flip side, doing that, and what I mean by that is eliminating poverty, would not only drastically reduce the abortion rate, but it would also prevent people from feeling as if their rights are being taken away from them. Thus, you actually satisfy people who are on both sides of the abortion argument, whether they're for abortions or against abortions. When you remove poverty, these things will happen. Thus, people that are on both sides of the abortion argument will be satisfied. By just the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade case, and also overturning the 2018 case of Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. Because remember, it was two Supreme Court cases yesterday concerning abortions that was overturned. 2 Supreme Court cases. But doing these things, thus giving individual states the right to ban abortions or restrict abortions or to leave abortion rights the way it is not really going to change things. It's not really okay. It's not really going to cause a positive change in society as these anti-abortionists claim it would be. And at the same time, you're not really fully removing a woman's right to have an abortion, especially when there are plenty of other states in the United States that they could travel to for females to get an abortion. So really, this is one of these things where it goes nowhere. And I stated that on my prior video. These are one of the things that really goes nowhere. You know, when you have different states that want to either put a ban on abortion or put more restrictions on abortions, while at the same time not removing the environmental factors that cause abortions, all you're doing is giving females who are in desperate need of abortion a reason to just travel outside of the state to get the procedure done. That's all you're doing. All you're doing is giving companies an opportunity to actually provide money to cover travel costs for any of their female workers looking to get an abortion, but live in states where abortion is either banned or further restricted, right? Which is what's happening. And I covered that in my prior video that I made last night, when you have big time corporations such as JP Morgan and Chase, Apple, Starbucks, Amazon, who are planning to do that, to make that part of their benefits package to cover traveling costs if any of their female employees who live in a state where abortion is illegal to travel to another state where abortion is legal so they could have money to get the procedure done. And also, when you have different states that make abortions illegal or put further restrictions on abortions while not eliminating the environmental factors that cause an abortion, what you're doing, you're giving other companies the opportunity, such as companies like Just the Pill, to create mobile abortion clinics and place them on the borders of states that makes abortions illegal, which is what they're doing, thus making it easier for those living in states where abortion is illegal to get access to abortion. I mean, you're not changing things. If you really want to change things, if you really want to eliminate abortion, you have to eliminate the environmental factors that cause females to make the decision to get an abortion in the first place. See, that's what I don't get about America, right? Like in America, right? There's like tons of research that speaks about the factors that cause people to do certain things that those may find to be either morally wrong or lawfully wrong. And instead of getting rid of these environmental factors that would reduce the chances of people deciding to do these things, America decides to just let's make a law to make this illegal or give more punishment to those who commit these crimes instead of saying, hey, let's focus on getting rid of these fucking factors that would cause people to want to do these things in the first place. What's up, Gold Professor? What's up? What's going on? We don't do that in America, man. And let me tell you something. Also, one result when it comes to this, when it comes to different states either banning or putting more restrictions on abortions may be that the population of these states will increase. But that can also mean that a lot of its poor population would increase also, which means that you'll find more and more females that will be on the welfare system, right? Or they'll be in the system for longer periods of time. That is, if they don't get an abortion, they'll end up being in the welfare system in longer periods of time. That'll just cost more money for taxpayers. So I'm saying, like, just these different states just making these restrictions or bans on abortion, but not planning to eliminate the environmental factors that would cause females to want to get an abortion, is not really accomplishing anything. They're not accomplishing anything. And this is why I don't get about it's man. And some people don't see that. Some people don't really have the wisdom or the foresight or the wherewithal to even see what I'm talking about. I got the link in the chat. So if those of you want to join, you could join. If you want to join the stream, because this is an open panel, we can speak about any topic, but as long as the topic revolves around positivity and intelligence. We're not going to have no nigga shit on here, man. And please don't come on my stream crying and complaining about the opposite sex. That includes you males and females. If any of you plan to come on my stream, please don't make this about crying over the opposite sex. I don't want to hear no males sitting there crying about females or no females sitting out here crying about males. It gets too fucking annoying. It gets too goddamn annoying and shit. It gets too annoying where people want to create a so-called gender war out of any type of topic you talk about. Just like when it comes to this topic, right? People online try to make this topic, when I mean this topic, I'm speaking about abortion, where people try to make the topic of abortion into this gender war topic, where it's not really a gender war, because it's not like the vast amount of females are pro-abortion while the vast amount of males are anti-abortion. As a matter of fact, the vast majority, it's not like the vast majority of females are pro-abortion and the vast majority of males are anti-abortion. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of both males and females are at least pro-choice. Well, I'm speaking about in America in particular. The vast majority of females and males within the United States of America are at least pro-choice. Hell, both genders are on both sides of the abortion argument, where you got both males and females who are anti-abortion. As a matter of fact, right, I remember a few years ago, I used to work not too far from an abortion clinic, right? This was years ago. I used to work not too far from an abortion clinic. And then from time to time, whenever I would pass by the abortion clinic, I would see a lot of anti-abortionist activists stand and protest in front of that abortion clinic, right? And they would protest against abortions. And you know who made up the majority of these anti-abortion protesters? Females. Females were the overall majority of these anti-abortion protesters, showing that when it comes to those who are on both sides of the abortion argument, are both genders are on both sides of the abortion argument. And likewise, when it comes to protesters who are pro-abortion, it's both genders. So it doesn't make sense to take an issue of abortion and turn it into a gender war. Because abortion, the topic of abortion, is not really a gender war. It's really a war when it comes to morality. What do you view to be ethical and or moral? Some think that it's immoral to kill a child before it is even born. Some people believe that it is immoral to do that. Some people believe it is immoral to take the life of someone who did not even ask to be put here, but to decide to kill that person anyway. That all human beings have the right to be born, and it's immoral to take that away from a human being, whether they're in the womb or outside of the womb, right? Some people think it's immoral to do that. Others think that it's immoral to remove the right of a female to do whatever she wants to do with her body. That a government, these same people believe that if a government tried to dictate what a human being could do with their own bodies, that's immoral. So the topic of abortion, whether or not you agree with it, is a moral issue. It's not a gender issue. Because like I said before, both genders fall on both sides of the abortion argument. You have both genders that agree with abortions and believe that abortions should not be illegal. But then at the same time, you have people of both genders that believe that abortion should be illegal. So I don't get why people would try to create a gender war when it comes to talking about an abortion. You see, when you try to create a gender war when it comes to a topic of abortion, you actually water down the quality of the conversation. Because instead of just speaking about abortion and going in depth about why or why not abortion should be legal, you're really going to turn around and go in depth as to why you can't stand the opposite sex. So really, when people try to create a gender war, when it comes to arguing about abortion, not only are they reducing the quality of the conversation or the potential quality of the conversation, or excuse me, potentially reducing the quality of the conversation, they're also what's that word? They also are derailing the conversation. So it's really a derailment point. I don't get why people do that. But speaking of abortions, right? Let me show you guys this. Let me show you guys this article. Hold on for a minute. I want to show this article to you guys. Let me share the screen. All right. I'm going to give you guys a link to this. This is from the Guttmacher Institute. I mentioned this institute on my prior video, right? But I mispronounced it. I mispronounced it as I said Guttmacher Institute, but I found out that the correct pronunciation to this is Guttmacher, the Guttmacher Institute. Yeah. And what the Guttmacher Institute is, the Guttmacher Institute is an organization that does a lot of research on reproductive health and sexual health. Yeah. So it's like a research group. So this article that I bring to you guys, I'll put the link in the chat. And it says, and it's titled, 26 states are certain or likely to ban abortion without Roe. Here's which ones and why, right? And the article was written by two people, Elizabeth Nash and Lauren Cross. It was first published online in October 28th, 2021. It was updated on April 19th, 2022 with new information. But I'll start by reading here. On December 1st, 2021, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments on Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, a case on the constitutionality of Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban that will specifically address whether a state can ban abortion before viability, generally 24 to 26 weeks of pregnancy. The Supreme Court taking this case at all is a stunning development. But the state of Mississippi has gone even further and asked the court to outright overturn Roe versus Wade, the 1973 case that affirmed a constitutional right to abortion. Now, let me give you guys some background to this, because this is how this whole overturning, what this paragraph just told you, is how this whole overturning of Roe v. Wade started. Because it started from this Supreme Court case, Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization. See, in 2018, right, then governor of Mississippi, I forgot his name, something Bryant, created a law where abortions can only be done within 15 weeks of a female's pregnancy in the state of Mississippi. So therefore, the then governor of Mississippi make it illegal for people within the state of Mississippi to get an abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, which would equal to like what? 3.5 months? Yeah, like a little bit over 3.5 months, right? A little bit less than 4 months. So within the first 15 weeks of a female's pregnancy, that's when it was legal in the state of Mississippi for a female to get an abortion. But a abortion provider in Mississippi called the Jackson Women's Health Organization felt that was unconstitutional. So in 2018, they filed a Supreme Court case going to the Supreme Court suggesting that the state of Mississippi has violated Americans' constitutional rights and violated the then previous court case, the decision of the then previous court case of Roe v. Wade. And actually, the Supreme Court actually went in favor of Jackson Women's Health Organization and actually struck down the Mississippi law stating that it was unconstitutional. But then the state of Mississippi decided to appeal and create and give arguments why the Supreme Court should uphold this rule. Thus, in 2021, due to the Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization case, they suggest that the Supreme Court overturn Roe v. Wade, which is what resulted in what we saw yesterday. But I'll continue reading. Okay. It is far from a foregone conclusion that the court will cast aside 5 decades of precedent to overturn Roe and allow states to ban abortion. However, by even accepting the case, the court has signaled that it is willing to revisit the legality of abortion. Now, remember, this article was written on October 28th of 2021. So back then, the writers thought that this was impossible, that it was impossible for the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade. But as of yesterday, we saw that what they thought was impossible became possible. I'll continue reading. However, by even accepting the case, the court has signaled that it is willing to revisit the legality of abortion. Furthermore, the court's September 1st decision to decline to block an unconstitutional 6-week abortion ban in Texas from going into effect may be an indicator of its intent. States certain to ban abortion. If Roe were overturned or fundamentally weakened, 22 states have laws or constitutional amendments already in place that would make them certain to attempt to ban abortion as quickly as possible. Anti-abortion policymakers in several of these states have also indicated that they will introduce legislation modeled after the Texas 6-week abortion ban. By the time the Supreme Court hears oral arguments in the Mississippi case, there will be 9 states in this group with an abortion ban still on the books from before Roe v. Wade. 13 states. So hold on. Let me stop right here. Now, even prior to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, there was about 9 states within the United States that had an abortion ban before the 1973 case of Roe v. Wade. So thus, being that, and the decision of Roe v. Wade for the federal government to protect Americans' abortion rights made these pre-Roe laws in these 9 states basically illegal or unconstitutional, right? But for some reason, they were still on the books. But that 1973 court case made these laws irrelevant. But now that that case has been overturned, these pre-Roe v. Wade laws in these 9 different states that existed before Roe v. Wade now can now be enforced. But I'll continue reading. 13 states with a trigger ban tied to Roe being overturned. A trigger ban is basically you have 13 states that will immediately legislate certain laws to reduce or ban abortion right after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. That's what a trigger ban is. Right? 5 states with a near total abortion ban enacted after Roe. 11 states with a 6-week ban that is not in effect. And 1 state, Texas, with a 6-week ban that is in effect, which means that these states would make abortions illegal after a female's 6th week of pregnancy, which means that if a female's pregnant in these states and decides to get an abortion, they have within their first 6 weeks of pregnancy to get an abortion. Because once their pregnancy is in their 7th week, that is it. They can't abort the child. I'll continue reading. 1 state with an 8-week ban that is not in effect, and 4 states whose constitutions specifically bar a right to abortion. Some states have multiple types of bans in place. Wow. All right. So I'll just show you some of these states that have these types of bans. Alabama have a pre-Roe ban, also a near total ban of abortion. And not only that, but their state constitution or their state law bars protection for anybody to get an abortion, which means that due to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, abortion rights is not even protected at all, basically meaning that abortion is banned. Right? Or abortion can be banned and the state won't protect that person's abortion rights. Like I said, in other words, abortion is banned in the state of Alabama, right? Arizona have a pre-Roe ban, which means prior to Roe v. Wade existing, or prior to the decision of Roe v. Wade in 1973, Arizona already had a law banning abortion, which was still on the books, but couldn't be enforced due to Roe v. Wade. But now since it's overturned, Arizona can actually enforce the pre-Roe ban, right? Arkansas had a pre-Roe ban and a trigger ban and a near total ban. Georgia has a 6-week ban, which means a female can only abort their children within their first 6 weeks of pregnancy, right? Idaho has a trigger ban and a 6-week ban. Iowa has a 6-week ban. Kentucky has a trigger ban and a 6-week ban. Louisiana has a trigger ban, near total ban, 6-week ban, and state constitution bars protection, which means that the state of Louisiana will not recognize, just like the state of Alabama, will not recognize any person's right to abortion within the state, basically making abortion illegal. Michigan has a pre-roll ban. And it's funny with the state of Michigan. Yeah, the state of Michigan had an abortion ban prior to the decision of Roe versus Wade. But the current governor of Michigan, wants to go to the state Supreme Court to destroy this law, because the governor of Michigan don't even agree with Michigan's abortion ban. State of Mississippi got a pre-roll ban, trigger ban, 6-week ban. State of Missouri has a trigger ban, 8-week ban. North Dakota has a trigger ban, 6-week ban. Ohio has a 6-week ban. Oklahoma has a pre-roll ban, trigger ban, 6-week effective November. Oh wow, 6-week ban. South Carolina has a 6-week ban. South Dakota has a trigger ban. Tennessee has a 6-week ban or trigger ban. And once again, in the state of Tennessee, the state constitution bars protection, which means that the state of Tennessee, due to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, will not recognize the protection of anyone's abortion rights within the state, thus really making abortion fully illegal within the state of Tennessee, right? Texas has a pre-roll ban, trigger ban. Utah has a trigger ban, near total ban. West Virginia has, just like the state of Tennessee, the state of Louisiana, the state of Alabama, their state constitution bars protection, which means that in the state of Virginia, the state does not recognize anybody's abortion rights. Basically, you don't have any abortion rights in West Virginia. Pre-roll ban, trigger ban, right? Yeah. So most of these states have, more restrictions on abortion. 4 states, as of right now, clearly do not even protect or bars protection when it comes to people's abortion rights. Which in these states, like I just showed you, are Tennessee, Alabama, West Virginia, and Louisiana, right? And states likely to ban abortion, which will be Florida, Indiana, Montana, Nebraska. Florida says in 2021, the state legislature attempted to ban abortion at 20 weeks of pregnancy. An effort to adopt a Texas-style 6-week ban was publicized. In April 2022, a 15-week abortion ban was enacted that is scheduled to go into effect in July. So Florida is going to have a 15-week abortion ban. So it's really, most states really have abortion restrictions. I don't know why the Guttmacher Institute, this website, calls it an abortion ban. It's really more of a restriction where you could only have an abortion within a certain amount of time of pregnancy. In Indiana, in the past decade, the legislature has enacted 55 abortion restrictions and bans, paving the way for a comprehensive ban. Wow, damn, that's crazy. They might as well have a full-fledged ban. Montana, for the first time in nearly a decade, new abortion restrictions were enacted in 2021, including restrictions on medication abortion and abortion at 20 weeks of pregnancy. These restrictions currently cannot be enforced due to a court order. Well, I guess due to now, being that Roe v. Wade and Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization have been overturned, now this court order can't be enforced, really. So Montana could go ahead with their 20-week abortion ban, or the restriction where females can only get an abortion within their first 20 weeks of pregnancy. Nebraska and the state of Nebraska says, although not one of the most prolific states in enacting abortion restrictions, it was the first to adopt a 22-week ban in 2010, and in 2020 enacted the ban on standard method for abortions after 15 weeks. Okay. So most states have like more restrictions on abortions. So abortion is still legal in most of the states in the United States. It's just that a lot of states are going to implement or are implementing much more restrictions concerning abortions, right? So in most states, females are still going to have abortion rights. Therefore, when you got these pro-abortionists who are crying crocodile tears talking about, oh no, this is bad for women, blah blah blah. You see, the government is oppressing women, blah 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 blah. That's wrong, because most states are just putting more restrictions on abortions. The majority of states are not giving a full all-out ban on abortions, right? But on the flip side, like I said before, even those who are pro-abortions, even those who are anti-abortions are in the wrong, because they think this is a victory, where really it's not really much of a victory. Because let me tell you this. I showed you reports in these different states where it said, where according to the Guttmacher Institute, most of these states are enacting like these 15 to 20 week abortion bans. Well, guess what? When you do your research, naturally, even before Roe v. Wade was overturned, most females got an abortion within their first 15 weeks of pregnancy anyway. Most females that get an abortion gotten their abortion within their first 15 weeks of pregnancy. So these 15-week bans, these 20-week bans, or this 22-week ban by Nebraska is not really going to change things. Right? It's not really oppressing females or oppressing or repressing the females' right to an abortion, because these states are still giving females the right to abort within the amount that the average female aborts their children anyway. What's going on, degenerate? Sharingan. Yeah, so basically abortion is illegal in West Virginia, basically. Really, the only states which really have as of right now, have a complete ban on abortion, according to this article, are West Virginia, Louisiana, Alabama, and which one? Alabama, Louisiana, West Virginia, and Tennessee. That's really it. Where the state constitution don't give anyone any protection when it comes to abortion rights. You could say these four states, see, pro-abortionists can accuse these four states of actually removing a female's rights to an abortion. But as of right now, the remainder of these states give females a right to abortion, but just limit the amount of time that they can get an abortion prior to Roe v. Wade being overturned. But like I said, on the flip side, it's not a victory to those who are anti-abortion, because for those who are anti-abortion, they have failed to realize that, once again, females who are living in states that either ban abortions or give a much more restriction on abortion can just travel to a state like California, travel to a state like New York, travel to a state like Washington State or Washington, D.C., or Oregon or New Jersey or Pennsylvania or Maryland and get the procedure done there with travel costs being paid for, and then just go back home. So really, this whole shit is not really going to change shit. It's not really going to change shit. It's just that people that just want an abortion are going to just have to get up, pack their bags, and travel somewhere. To me, this whole shit is nonsense, really. It's really nonsense to me. Yeah. Same thing with me where I'm at. Actually, all over the country, Degenerate Sharingan, all over the country, abortions have declined since the 1980s. Even prior to Roe v. Wade being overturned, abortion have been on a decline all over the country. If you look in all 50 states, including the District of including Washington, D.C., or the District of Columbia, and you compare modern day abortion statistics or the modern day numbers of abortion to the numbers of abortion 40 years ago, you'll see a complete difference. Yeah, it was originally state made until the 1973 Supreme Court case of Roe v. Wade. Let me close this. Let me shut this down because I'm done talking about this shit. Well, I'm done showing this shit, showing the screenshot, right? But these are one of these things where people on both sides of the argument are both wrong. It's not going to be the end of the world, nor it's not going to be the beginning of a new world, being that the Supreme Court overturned this case, right? Hell, you never know. Because really, when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, what the Supreme Court is really saying is that, hey, listen, it's no longer up to us. And the Supreme Court justices said that on their draft proposal, right? Or excuse me, their draft opinion when it comes to Roe v. Wade. They literally said that it is not up to the Supreme Court to decide whether or not the federal government should protect people's abortion rights. They literally said that is left up to elected officials, politicians, right? So that could still leave room for Joe Biden and or Congress to come up with a new federal law to make abortions legal, thus destroying this whole shit what these different states are trying to implement when it comes to banning or restricting abortions. So it's still open to that. That still can generally happen. So for these pro-abortionists crying and shit like that, talking about, you're oppressing women, please. Once again, the Supreme Court is leaving it up to elected officials, aka politicians, to decide if they want to make a federal law protecting people's abortion rights. And being that Congress on both sides, whether in the House of Reps and in Senate, are mostly Democratic, and most Democrats are at least pro-choice, don't be surprised if you see a new federal law by the end of this year making abortion a constitutional right. Because technically speaking, if you want to be technical about it, there is no clear-cut constitutional law protecting reproductive rights. And once again, that's what the Supreme Court was talking about. But the Supreme Court would not, and that's the reason, that's one of the main reasons why the Supreme Court actually overturned Roe v. Wade. Because of the fact that there is no clear-cut law within the U.S. Constitution protecting abortion rights. So the federal government can make up that law. That can very well happen. Or it might not happen. You never know. But anyhow, I'm done talking about this shit, you know. I'm done talking about this. Looks like nobody coming on the panel, so all right, peace. I'm out of here.